Welcome to Stories Junction. Let's begin today's story. It was a Tuesday morning when Sophia's message hit my phone. I'm filing for divorce next week. 6 words, no context, no warning, just a cold digital jab. I stared at the screen, the glow of my laptop reflecting off my coffee mug. Spreadsheets clutter my desk, shipping schedules, client contracts, profit margins, work that usually anchored me. But those words unmoored everything. Sophia and I had been married for 7 years. In the beginning, she was my rock, witty, magnetic, a marketing consultant who could spin any situation into gold. She'd charm clients at my company dinners, making my fledgling supply chain software startup look like a Fortune 500 operation. But over the past year, something shifted. Her late-night work calls multiplied. Her phone grew a password I didn't know. Weekend getaways became work retreats. She was still living in our Seattle townhouse, but her presence felt like a ghost's, fleeting, barely there. Her suitcase stayed half-packed by the bedroom door. I'm not one for theatrics. I observe, I plan, I act. For months ago, I started quietly securing my assets. My company, built from late nights and risky loans, was my lifeblood. We'd signed a prenup before the wedding. Sophia's suggestion to keep things simple, she'd said with a smile. I'd agreed, no questions asked. Now, I made sure every detail was airtight. I consulted my lawyer, Elena Voss, 3 weeks ago to review the paperwork. Elena, who'd been with me since the company's first contract, was a steel-trap mind who didn't blink at chaos. When Sophia's text came through, I wasn't shocked by the intent, just the bluntness. Like she was canceling a subscription, not a marriage. I didn't respond right away. Instead, I dialed Elena. She answered on the second ring, her voice calm and clipped. I read her the text. She didn't miss a beat. "We're ready," she said. "Want to move now?" I told her to file the divorce papers today, no delay. She promised a process server would deliver them to Sophia's office by morning. I hung up, took a breath, and texted Sophia back. I filed first. The 3 dots blinked, then vanished. No reply. Classic Sophia. Light the fuse and slip away, expecting me to chase the explosion. Not this time. By Wednesday morning, the papers were on Sophia's desk at her downtown office. Elena texted me at 8:47 a.m. Served. No response yet. Let's see her next move. I pictured Sophia striding into her sleek office, expecting another day of calls and campaigns, only to find a manila envelope with her full name typed in bold. She thought she was the one making the power play, but I'd flipped the board. The first clue had come in February. I checked one of our old joint accounts, used for small shared expenses, and noticed odd withdrawals. $75 in Portland, $140 in Denver, $90 in San Francisco. Small enough to miss if you weren't paying attention. I didn't confront her, I just watched. Then, in April, I saw an email on her laptop, left open during one of her rare nights home. It was from a property manager in Austin. "Your short-term lease is confirmed." She'd never mentioned Texas, not once. That's when I started moving. I transferred liquid assets to a new account in my name only. Elena reviewed the prenup, confirming my company and pre-marriage savings were untouchable. Sophia had insisted on the prenup to protect her own inheritance, a trust fund from her late father. Back then, she had more to lose. Now I did, but I was ready. When I met with Elena a month ago, she laid it out clearly. We could go aggressive or stay surgical. I chose precision. No shouting matches, no public mess. We compiled everything, bank statements, prenup clauses, asset histories. Every move was documented, every angle covered. When Sophia's text landed, it wasn't a surprise, it was a signal. She thought she was starting the game. I was already a checkmate. That evening, Sophia showed up at the townhouse. I was in the basement, fixing a wobbly shelf, when I heard the front door click. She still had her key. I hadn't changed the locks yet. "James," her voice called, sharp but unsteady. I finished tightening the screw, wiped my hands on a rag, and climbed the stairs. She stood by the kitchen counter, clutching the envelope. Her hair was pulled back, her eyes blazing. "You filed first," she said, voice tight. "You didn't even talk to me. You texted that you were divorcing me." I replied, keeping my tone even. I just beat you to it. She shook her head, the envelope crumpling slightly in her grip. This was supposed to be a discussion, James. Not this. You don't start a discussion with a guillotine, I said. You swung. I blocked. Her jaw tightened. You've been moving money. My lawyer says we can fight the prenup. The prenup you wanted? I said, crossing my arms. The one your lawyer drafted to protect your trust fund? Every page has your initials, Sophia. That was years ago, she snapped. Things change. Not contracts, I said. Not when they're signed and notarized. She set the envelope down, her fingers lingering on it. I was there for you, James. When you were building your company, when you were nobody. I deserve something for that. I paused, letting her words hang. You were there for the first year. After that, it was solo trips and secret leases. I know about Austin, Sophia, the withdrawals, the plans. I didn't stop you. I just got ready. Her face froze, just for a second, before she grabbed her purse. This isn't over, she said, voice low. You'll see. She stormed out, the door slamming behind her. I stood there, the silence settling like dust. What was she planning? And how far was she willing to go? The next morning, Thursday, my phone buzzed with an email from Sophia's lawyer, Marcus Reed. The subject line was blunt, notice of intent. I opened it, expecting a fight, and I wasn't disappointed. Marcus's tone was all bluster, a wall of legal jargon meant to intimidate. It has come to our attention that Mr. James Harper initiated divorce proceedings in a manner that suggests premeditated concealment of marital assets. We intend to contest the validity of the prenuptial agreement, citing undue influence and inequitable terms. He CC'd Sophia, as if to make sure I knew she was watching. I read it twice, not because it worried me, but because I wanted to catch every nuance. Then I forwarded it to Elena. Elena called within 10 minutes. They're fishing, she said, her voice steady as ever. This is posturing. Marcus Reed's got a reputation for theatrics, but he's light on follow-through. Want me to respond? I told her to hit back, hard but clean. No games, just facts. By noon, she'd sent a reply that was surgical in its precision. Attached were scanned copies of the prenup, complete with Sophia's lawyer's signature from 7 years ago, plus financial records showing my company and personal accounts predated the marriage. Every transfer I'd made was time-stamped well before Sophia's text. Elena's email was 5 lines long, polite but unyielding, leaving no room for misinterpretation. Check, not checkmate yet. Sophia didn't wait long to escalate. By Friday, she was texting again. You think you're so clever, James. We need to talk. This is getting out of hand. I didn't reply. She followed up an hour later. I didn't want it to be like this. Let's meet and figure this out. I left her on read. Words were her weapon, and I wasn't stepping into that trap. Instead, I called Elena to confirm our next steps. She told me Marcus had already requested a mediation session, a sign they were testing the waters. They're rattled, she said. Sophia didn't expect you to move this fast. That afternoon, I got a call from our bank. Sophia had tried to withdraw $5,800 from a joint account we'd kept for household expenses. The account was frozen, Elena's foresight. The bank manager, polite but firm, said Sophia had claimed I was locking her out of her own money. I explained the divorce filing, confirmed the court documents were on record, and told them to hold the funds until the legal process sorted it out. An hour later, my credit card company called. Sophia had attempted a $2,300 charge at a high-end furniture store in Bellevue. The card was flagged, and they needed my approval. I declined, calmly, and asked them to note the account for future attempts. Sophia was swinging wildly now, testing every angle. By Friday evening, she showed up at the townhouse again. I changed the locks that morning, so she stood on the porch, knocking sharply. I opened the door, and there she was, arms crossed, eyes burning with a mix of anger and desperation. You're trying to ruin me, James, she said, her voice low but shaking. Freezing accounts, blocking my cards, what's next? I'm not ruining you, I said, leaning against the doorframe. I'm protecting what's mine. You signed a prenup, Sophia. You wanted it as much as I did. That was a different time, she snapped. I didn't know you'd turn into this machine, calculating every move like I'm some enemy. You texted me you were divorcing me, I said. No warning, no conversation. You made the first move. I'm just playing the game you started. Her lips pressed into a thin line. I needed space, James. I was suffocating. The Austin lease, it was a way to think, to figure out what I wanted. Without telling me, I asked, my voice steady, while pulling money from our accounts. That's not thinking, Sophia. That's planning. Her eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. You don't get it, she said. I gave you everything. My time, my energy, my support when your company was nothing. And now you're acting like I'm a stranger. You stopped being a partner a long time ago, I said. I didn't make that choice. You did. She stood there, silent, her hands clenched. Then she turned, walked back to her car, and drove off into the Seattle drizzle. I closed the door, the sound echoing in the empty house. For a moment, I wondered what she'd do next. Would she double down, or was she starting to see the walls closing in? Monday brought another email from Marcus Reed. This one was softer, less bombast. He proposed a private mediation to avoid further escalation. It was a pivot. Sophia's team was feeling the pressure. Elena wasn't fazed. They're running out of cards, she told me over the phone. Marcus knows the prenup is ironclad. He's trying to save face. She pulled up an old email from Sophia, sent during our second year of marriage, where she'd written, "Your company's all you, James. I don't want any part of that stress." That email, paired with the prenup's clear language, was a dagger. Sophia had waived any claim to my business, its profits, or its growth. Elena sent Marcus a response, attaching the email and reiterating that my company was separate property, untouchable. By Tuesday, Sophia's text took a new tone. "James, please. I didn't mean for it to get this messy. Can we just talk?" Then, an hour later, "I'm not trying to take everything. I just need something to start over." I didn't respond. The time for talking had passed when she sent that first text. But her messages kept coming, each one more frantic. "You're making this personal. It doesn't have to be like this." I stayed silent, letting her words pile up unanswered. Wednesday morning, Elena called with an update. Marcus had reached out directly, his voice tired. "He's suggesting a settlement discussion," she said. "No formal mediation, just a meeting to explore options." I think Sophia's starting to crack. I asked Elena what she thought. "She's realizing the prenup's a brick wall," she said. "But don't let your guard down. She might have one more play." That night, I sat in my office, staring at the city lights through the window. Sophia's moves were getting desperate, but desperation could make her dangerous. What was her next step? Was she really ready to fold? Or was she planning something bigger, something I hadn't seen coming? By Thursday morning, the air in the townhouse felt heavier, like the calm before a storm. Sophia's texts had stopped after her flurry of messages the previous day, and the silence was louder than her words. I knew better than to think she'd given up. She was regrouping, and I needed to stay sharp. I checked in with Elena Voss, my lawyer, to confirm our position. "Marcus Reed's playing nice now," she said, her voice steady over the phone. "He's pushing for a settlement meeting, but it's a stall. They're digging for leverage." I asked if we should agree to meet. "Not yet," Elena replied. "Let them sweat a little longer. We hold a stronger hand." That afternoon, I got a call from a mutual friend, Rachel, who worked in Sophia's marketing firm. Her voice was cautious, like she was stepping into a minefield. "James, I don't want to get in the middle, but Sophia's not herself. She's been ranting about you at the office, saying you're trying to destroy her." I stayed quiet, letting Rachel fill the silence. "She mentioned something about Austin, said it was just a break, not what you think. I don't know the details, but she's spiraling." I thanked Rachel for the heads up, but didn't offer anything back. Sophia was spinning her narrative, trying to rally allies. I wasn't surprised. She'd always been good at shaping a story. Later that day, another email from Marcus landed in my inbox. This one was carefully worded, almost conciliatory. He proposed a good-faith discussion to divide the remaining joint assets and avoid a prolonged court battle. He even suggested Sophia might be open to waiving spousal support if we could reach an amicable resolution. It was a trap dressed as an olive branch. Elena saw it immediately. "They're testing if you'll budge on the prenup," she said. "Sophia's hoping you'll offer something. anything to avoid a fight. I told Elena to draft a response reinforcing our stance. The prenup stands, no concessions. She sent it within the hour, attaching another copy of the signed agreement for good measure. Friday brought a new surprise. I was reviewing client emails when my phone pinged with an alert from our home security system. Someone had tried to access the garage door with an old code. It didn't take a genius to guess who. I checked the camera footage, Sophia standing on the driveway, punching numbers into the keypad before giving up and driving off. She hadn't tried the front door, probably because she knew the locks were changed. I called Elena to report it. Document everything, she said. If she's desperate enough to show up unannounced, she might try something reckless. That evening, I sat down with a glass of bourbon, replaying the last year in my head. The signs had been there long before the Austin lease. Sophia's late nights, her guarded phone, the way she'd deflect questions about her work trips. I'd found a receipt in her coat pocket back in December, $200 at a cocktail bar in San Diego, a city she'd never mentioned visiting. I didn't confront her then. I just filed it away, mentally and physically, in a folder I kept locked in my desk. That folder was with Elena now, part of the arsenal we'd built. Every receipt, every bank statement, every email was a piece of the puzzle. Sophia thought she was playing a long game, but I've been matching her move for move. Saturday morning, I got a text from an unknown number. James, it's Sophia. Using a friend's phone. I just want to talk. Please. I stared at the message, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. Part of me wanted to hear her out, to see what she'd say when cornered. But I knew better. Talking was her domain. She'd twist words, spin guilt, make it sound like I was the one who'd wronged her. I didn't respond. Instead, I forwarded the text to Elena, who replied instantly. Smart move. Stay silent. She's fishing. By Monday, Marcus Reed's tone had shifted again. His latest email was less about demands and more about pleading. He claimed Sophia had been under significant emotional stress during our marriage, suggesting her contributions to my personal and professional stability entitled her to a share of my company's equity. It was a desperate play, and Elena dismantled it with ease. She pulled up financial records showing my company, Harper Tech, was incorporated 3 years before I met Sophia. She also found a text thread from Sophia, saved from an old phone backup, where she joked, "Your startup's your baby, James. I'm not changing its diapers." That text, combined with the prenup's explicit exclusion of my business, was another nail in their case. Elena sent the response, cool and final. Tuesday evening, Sophia tried a new tactic. A courier delivered a handwritten letter to the townhouse. I recognized her looping script on the envelope. Inside, she wrote, "James, I know I messed up. I didn't mean for things to spiral like this. The Austin lease was a mistake, a way to figure out who I am. I'm struggling, and I'm scared. Can we just sit down and talk? I don't want your company. I just need enough to start over." The letter was raw, almost convincing, but I'd seen Sophia's performances before. This wasn't remorse, it was strategy. I scanned the letter and sent it to Elena. "She's trying to play the sympathy card," Elena said. "Don't engage. We're almost there." Wednesday morning, Rachel texted again. "Sophia's telling people you hid money from her. She's saying there's proof you cheated her out of what's hers. I don't believe it, but heads up." Proof? That was new. Sophia had nothing. No documents, no receipts, no emails that could rewrite the story we'd both signed 7 years ago. But the word proof stuck with me. Was she bluffing, or did she have something up her sleeve? I called Elena, who was unfazed. If she had real evidence, Marcus would have led with it, she said. But I'll dig deeper. Stay ready. That night, I couldn't sleep. The house felt too quiet, the kind of quiet that amplifies every creak and shadow. I kept thinking about Sophia's letter, her texts, the way she'd stood on my porch. She was cornered, but cornered animals fight hardest. What was her proof? And would it change the game I thought I'd already won? Thursday morning broke with a gray Seattle drizzle, mirroring the tension that had settled over my life. Sophia's silence, since her handwritten letter, felt like a held breath, and I braced for her next move. Her claim of proof, mentioned by Rachel, gnawed at me. Was it a bluff, or had she found a crack in my armor? I called Elena Voss, my lawyer, to check our defenses. If Sophia had anything solid, we'd have seen it by now, Elena said, her voice calm but firm. Marcus Reed's emails are all smoke, no substance. But I'll audit our files again. Keep your eyes open. I trusted Elena, but Sophia's knack for spinning narratives made me uneasy. She'd always been a master at turning perception into reality. That afternoon, I got a call from a bank. Sophia had tried to access another old joint account, one we'd barely used, with $3,400 left for miscellaneous expenses. The account was frozen, like the others, but this time she'd shown up in person, arguing with the branch manager. She claimed you'd forged her signature on some transfers, the manager told me. Forgery? That was a bold lie. Every move I'd made was documented, time-stamped, and vetted by Elena. I thanked the manager and sent the details to Elena, who responded immediately. She's grasping. This is noise, not evidence. I'll handle it. Still, the accusation stung. Sophia was painting me as the villain, and I wondered who else she was trying to convince. By Friday, Marcus Reed sent another email. This one was longer, dripping with faux concern. He claimed Sophia had been emotionally coerced into signing the prenup 7 years ago, citing her vulnerable state after her father's death. He suggested a court might find the agreement unconscionable and proposed a settlement. Sophia would drop her claims to my company, Harper Tech, in exchange for a modest lump sum and half the joint accounts. It was a retreat disguised as a compromise. Elena saw through it instantly. They're folding, she said. This coercion angle is nonsense. Her lawyer drafted the prenup, not us. I'll shut it down. She sent a reply, attaching the original prenup correspondence, including emails where Sophia's attorney had praised the document's fairness. Checkmate was close. That evening, I was sorting through old files in my home office when my phone buzzed. Another text from Sophia, this time from her own number. James, I'm drowning. I didn't want to hurt you. Can we meet? Just you and me, no lawyers. The words felt raw, but I'd seen this play before. Sophia's tears were a tool, sharpened by years in marketing. I didn't reply, but I saved the message and forwarded it to Elena. She's trying to bypass me, Elena said when we spoke. Don't meet her alone. If she wants to talk, it's through counsel. I agreed, but the text lingered in my mind. What was she after? A confession? A slip-up? Or was she genuinely breaking? Saturday brought a new twist. Rachel, our mutual friend, called again, her voice tight with worry. Sophia showed up at my place last night, she said. She was a mess, James. Said she's losing everything. Her job's shaky. Her lease in Austin fell through. She mentioned some emails she found, something about your company's early days. She thinks they prove she helped build it. Emails? My stomach tightened. Harper Tech was my creation, started years before I met Sophia. She'd attended a few client dinners, sure, but she'd never touched the code, the strategy, or the finances. What would she have? I thanked Rachel and called Elena immediately. If she's got emails, they're irrelevant, Elena said. The prenup's clear, and your company predates the marriage. But send me everything you have from that time, just in case. I spent the night digging through old backups, emails, contracts, even chat logs from when I was pitching investors. There was nothing tying Sophia to Harper Tech's foundation. The closest she'd come was a 2017 email where she'd offered to polish a client presentation. I declined, preferring to keep it technical. I sent everything to Elena, who confirmed it was clean. She's bluffing, Elena said, but she's desperate enough to try anything. Monday morning, Marcus Reed called Elena directly. His tone had shifted. No more bravado, just exhaustion. We'd like to resolve this quietly, he said, according to Elena's recap. Sophia is willing to honor the prenup if we can agree on a small settlement for her transition. Elena pushed back, refusing to budge on the joint accounts, which were already split per the prenup's terms. Marcus didn't argue. He knows they're done, Elena told me. But Sophia's driving this. She's not ready to sign yet. That evening, I was in the kitchen when the doorbell rang. I checked the security camera. Sophia, standing on the porch, holding a folder. I opened the door, keeping my expression neutral. James, please, she said, her voice softer than I'd heard in months. I brought something. Just look at it. She held out the folder, her hands trembling. It's not what you think, but it's important. I didn't take it. Send it to Elena, I said. Her face fell, and for a moment, I saw something raw, fear, maybe regret. I'm trying to fix this, she whispered. You're making it impossible. She set the folder on the porch and left without another word. I brought the folder inside, but didn't open it. Instead, I sent it to Elena unopened, along with a photo of the security footage. Smart, Elena texted back. Let me handle it. As I sat in the quiet house, the folder on my desk felt like a ticking bomb. What was inside? Was it the proof Sophia had hinted at, or another desperate move? And if it was real, could it change everything I'd fought to protect? Tuesday morning, I woke to a text from Elena Voss, my lawyer, reviewed the folder. It's nothing. Call me. I dialed her immediately, my pulse quickening as I thought about the folder Sophia had left on my porch. It's a collection of old emails and photos, Elena said, her voice steady. Sophia at a few Harper Tech events, some vague thank you notes from clients. Nothing ties her to the company's creation or finances. It's a Hail Mary, and it's dead on arrival. Relief washed over me, but I asked Elena to double-check. Already did, she said. The prenup's bulletproof, and these documents are irrelevant. Marcus Reed knows it. He's pushing for a final meeting tomorrow. I think Sophia's out of moves. That afternoon, Marcus sent a formal email, his tone stripped of its earlier bravado. He proposed a final settlement. Sophia would accept the prenup's terms, take her personal assets, and walk away with $2,800 from the joint accounts. No spousal support, no claim to Harper Tech. It was the clean division we'd outlined from the start. Elena drafted a response, agreeing to the terms but requiring Sophia's signature by end of day Wednesday. No extensions, Elena told me. They're cornered. Let's close this. Wednesday morning, I got a call from Rachel, our mutual friend. Her voice was heavy. Sophia's moving out of her place, she said. The Austin lease was a bust. Some guy she was involved with backed out. She's staying with a coworker now, talking about leaving Seattle. She's not herself, James. I know she messed up, but she's broken. I listened, letting the words sink in. Part of me felt a pang. 7 years of marriage couldn't vanish without leaving a mark. But sympathy wouldn't change the facts. Sophia had made her choices, and I'd made mine to protect what I'd built. By evening, Elena texted, papers signed. Sophia agreed to everything. Marcus sent the final documents. It's done. I sat in my office, staring at the city lights through the window. The prenup held. Sophia got her car, her personal accounts, and the $2,800, exactly what the agreement allowed. No equity, no support, no leverage. The silence from her side was deafening, louder than any argument we'd ever had. Thursday brought a new text from Sophia. James, I know you won't reply. I'm sorry it ended like this. I thought I could start over, but I lost everything. I hope you're happy. I read it, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. No anger, no triumph, just a hollow ache. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. The game was over, and the board was clear. A week later, I heard from Rachel again. Sophia's gone, she texted. Moved to Portland, got a short-term rental. She's talking about a fresh start, but she's struggling. I nodded at the screen, then locked my phone. Sophia had built her plans on assumptions, on the idea that I'd bend, that the prenup was flexible, that she could outmaneuver me. She hadn't counted on me watching, planning, and staying 5 steps ahead. The house felt different now. I repainted the living room, a crisp white to replace the gray Sophia had chosen. I donated the kitchen table we'd bought together, replaced it with something simple, functional mine. Elena checked in one last time to confirm the final asset report was filed. You're free and clear, she said. Hope I don't hear from you for a while. I laughed, a rare sound in those quiet weeks. Another text from Sophia came a month later, short and flat. I messed up, James. I know that now. I stared at it, the words blurring against the screen. No plea, no manipulation, just an acknowledgement. I didn't reply. The story was written line by line, choice by choice. I hadn't destroyed her. She'd unraveled her own narrative, expecting the world to bend to her will. When it didn't, she called it unfair. That night, I stood on the back deck, the Seattle skyline glittering in the distance. The air was cool, the kind of crisp that clears your head. I thought about the text that started it all, the moment Sophia thought she held the upper hand. She'd lit the match, expecting me to burn. But I'd been ready, with every move calculated, every asset secured. The prenup wasn't just a contract, it was a shield, one she'd helped forge. As the stars emerged, I let the silence settle. Sophia's final text echoed in my mind, but I didn't know her response. She played her game, and I played mine. The difference was, I'd seen the end game from start. And in that quiet, I found something new, not victory, but clarity. The house was mine again. The company was mine. The future was mine. And for the first time in years, I felt the weight lift, leaving only the open road ahead.